Session number 13, Getting into the Right Business. People often inquire about getting into the right business or their right livelihood. One of the first things you need to know is that you can do anything you want to do. That the universe is abundant. The universe is a field of plenitude and infinitude. That means that there should be no competition at all. That whatever it is your proclivity, your gifts, your talents, and your capacities, you can release them for your good and for the good of others and watch yourself prosper from them with ease, grace, and spiritual dignity. Now, there are some gifts and some talents that are within you that you can begin to develop and allow to express. You can pay attention to them. And as you pay attention to them, they can lead you into areas of right livelihood. I need you to be aware that you are a Renaissance man and woman, which means you're not limited to doing one thing for the rest of your life. There are talents and capacities within you that you haven't tapped into yet. And you need to begin to think of yourself as a creative expression of the infinite, a singular manifestation of a cosmic good with no ceiling, with no hindrance, no block. And then watch as the talents begin to surface themselves in your life. I'll always remember, as I look back on my life, that there were times in my life where my gifts tried to express themselves. I can remember in the 6th grade being nominated for the school treasurer. And I didn't want to do this. I was shy. I was inhibited. I was a good sportsman, but I didn't feel that I was a good communicator. And I didn't want to speak. And I had to speak in front of the entire class, entire assembly, because the teacher refused to allow me to take back my nomination. I'll always remember when it was my time to speak. When I got up to speak, all of a sudden this energy began to move through me, and I began to speak about educational excellence and how we needed to rise up in the field of excellence and be all that we could be. When I sat down, I was shocked. Everyone's mouth was open because there was this gift expressing through me that I didn't even know that I had. It took me a number of years to begin to embrace that, and now it is a part of my right livelihood, teaching and speaking and facilitating and doing workshops and conducting meditation retreats and writing and things along that nature. But that gift was in me. There is a gift within you. There is a right livelihood, and there is a strength. It's trying to emerge. And you need to understand, you're not in competition with anyone. True nobility is not being superior to another individual. True nobility is being superior to your previous self, which means you are here to grow, develop, and unfold to your greatest yet to be. And in that process, you're going to bump into right livelihood. Bob Proctor, in session 13, he's going to bring you into the awareness of getting into the right business.
Yes, getting into the right business is probably one of the most important decisions you will ever make. How you spend your days is of vital importance to you. Our satisfaction, our fulfillment comes from how we spend our days. Wallace Wattles said success in any particular business depends upon your possessing, in a well-developed state, the faculties required in that business. Without good musical faculty, no one can succeed as a teacher of music. Without exceptional mechanical abilities, no one can achieve great success in any of the mechanical trades. Without tact and flair for commerce, no one can succeed in the mercantile pursuits. But to possess, in a well-developed state, the faculties required in your particular vocation does not ensure getting rich. There are musicians who have remarkable talent and who yet remain poor. There are blacksmiths and carpenters who have excellent mechanical ability, but who do not get rich. And there are merchants with good skills for dealing with people who nevertheless fail. The different faculties are tools. It is essential to have good tools, but it is also essential that the tools should be used in the right way. One person can take a sharp saw, a square, a good plane, and build a handsome article of furniture. Another person can take the same tools and set to work to duplicate the article, but the production will be a complete failure. This person does not know how to use good tools in a successful way. The various faculties of your mind are the tools with which you must do the work that is to make you rich. It will be easier for you to succeed if you get into a business for which you are well equipped with mental tools. Generally speaking, you will do the best in that business which you use your strongest faculties, the one for which you are naturally best fitted. But there are also limitations to this statement. You should not regard your vocation as being irrevocably fixed by the skills with which you were born. You can get rich in any business, because if you do not have the right talent for it, you can develop that talent. It merely means that you will have to make your tools as you go along. Instead of confining yourself to the use of those with which you are born, it will be easier for you to succeed in a vocation for which you already have the talents in a well-developed state. But you can succeed in any vocation because you can develop any rudimentary talent, and there is no talent of which you have not at least a small amount. You will get rich most easily if you do that for which you are best suited. But you will get rich most satisfactorily if you do that which you want to do. Very few people are doing what they want. Most people are doing what someone else suggests, or they're doing something because they started it, or they're doing something because they think this is what they should do. You should be doing what you want to do. Life is very short. It can and will be a wonderful trip if you're doing what you really want to do. Waddles goes on here by saying, doing what you want to do is life, and there is no real satisfaction in living if you are compelled to do something which we do not like to do and fail to do what we want to do. And it is certain that you can do what you want to do. Your desire to do is proof that you have within you the power which can do it. Desire is a manifestation of power. The desire to play music is a power seeking expression and development. The desire to invent mechanical devices is also a power seeking expression and development. Where there is no power, either developed or undeveloped, to do a thing, there is never any desire to do that thing. Where there is a strong desire to do a thing, it is proof that the power to do it is strong and only needs to be developed and applied in the right way. All things being equal, it is best to select a business for which you have the best developed talent. But if you have a strong desire to engage in any particular line of work, you should select that work as the ultimate goal. Because you can do what you want to do, it is your right and privilege to follow the business or avocation which will be most congenial and pleasant. You are not obliged to do what you do not like to do, and should not do it except as a means to bring you to your desired work. If there are past mistakes whose consequences have placed you in an undesirable business or environment, you may be obliged for some time to do what you do not like to do, but you can make the doing of it pleasant by knowing that it is making it possible for you to come to your desired work. If you feel that you are not in the right vocation, do not act too hastily in trying to get into another one. The best way, generally, to change a business or an environment is by growth. Do not be afraid to make a sudden and radical change if the opportunity is presented, and if you feel, after careful consideration, that it is the right opportunity. But never take a sudden or radical action when you are in doubt as to the wisdom of doing so. There is never any hurry on the creative plane, and there is no lack of opportunity. When you get out of the competitive mind, you will understand that you never need to act hastily. No one is going to beat you to the thing that you want to do. There is enough for all. If one place is taken, another and a better one will be open for you a little further on. There is plenty of time. When you're in doubt, wait. Fall back on the contemplation of your vision and increase your faith and purpose. And by all means, in times of doubt and indecision, cultivate gratitude. A day or two spent in contemplating the vision of what you want and in earnest thanksgiving that you are getting it will bring your mind into such close relationship with the infinite that you will make no mistake when you do act. There is a mind to know all there is to know. And if you have deep gratitude, you can come into close unity with this mind by faith and the purpose to advance in life. Mistakes come from acting hastily, or from acting in fear or doubt, or in forgetfulness of the right motive, which is more life to all and less to none. As you go on in a certain way, opportunities will come to you in increasing numbers. You will need to be very steady in your faith and purpose and to keep in close touch with the Supreme Power through reverent gratitude. Do all that you can do in a perfect manner every day, but do it without haste, worry, or fear. Go as fast as you can, but never hurry. Remember that in the moment you begin to hurry, you cease to be a creator and become a competitor. You draw back into the old plane again. Whenever you find yourself hurrying, stop. Fix your attention on the mental image of the thing you want and begin to give thanks that you are getting it. This exercise of gratitude will never fail to strengthen your faith and renew your purpose. Hurry and speed are quite different. You should speed up and calm down. Gratitude is really the key to this. You've got to be filled with it. You've got to be filled with love. You have to feel great urges and surges of love within you. And you want to fill your mind with joy. Look at all the good of what you've got. Think of all the good that's happening in your life. There's so much of it. I know the negative keeps begging for our attention. Just let it go. It may be interesting, but it's not important. Fill your mind with the good of everything that's going on around you. Be grateful and know that something really wonderful is happening. Let's take a look at the questions for this particular session. The first question: if you have a pronounced talent for some particular business, what should you do? It's a good question. Number 2, in what way are faculties like tools? And number 3 is a beauty. It's something most people are looking for, and they don't know how to find it. What is desire? Number 4, how does the desire to do a thing prove that you can do the thing? The answer's in this session. Finally, let's look at question number 5. What should you do when tempted to act hastily? It's a good question. All right, now as you finish the questions, let's go into the exercises in this session. You got a couple of very important ones, and one that's going to need a respectable amount of explanation. In this lesson, Wallace Wattles pointed out, there is a mind which knows all there is to know. And if you have deep gratitude, you can come into close unity with this mind by faith and the purpose to advance in life. Now, years ago, I picked up a little book, Your Infinite Power. It was by Genevieve Behrend. She had studied with Thomas Troward, who, in my opinion, was probably one of the greatest authors of the last 500 years. She was his only student. She wanted to go and study with him, and she had to attract to her $20,000. Now, you may say, well, that's not that much money, but this was in 1912. And she studied with Troward from 1912 to 1914. She took a paragraph out of the lectures, the Dory Lectures by Thomas Troward, and she memorized it. She internalized it, and this is what brought her the good she desired. And now I have found if you will do as Genevieve Berand has done, and you'll do as I have done, and you take and internalize this particular paragraph, this jewel of information, it's going to help you a lot in understanding how and why you're going to attract what you attract. Now let me begin. I'm going to read this paragraph through once, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go through it point by point. He said, "My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what's gone before, something entirely new, not included in past experience, though proceeding out of past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner within me. Consequently, in my special world, of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before." And you know there's just an enormous amount of information locked up in that paragraph. Let's begin with the first sentence. My mind is a center of divine operation. Now the key word there is a center, a, not the. I want you to imagine that you're holding a round ball, possibly a basketball, in your hand. Now you and I both know that there's only one point in that ball that's center, and that's determined by the outer measurements of the ball. You can be in a room, there's one center in that room. Now, you may not know how to find it, but you know there are people that can tell you how to find the center in the room. There's only one center in the ball, there's only one center in the room. You can say there's only one center in the town you live in, there's only one center in anything. Not true. There's more than one center in divine operation. Why? Because when you're dealing with the divine, you're dealing with infinite. It has no beginning and no end. It goes right beyond our comprehension. Therefore, any point center. So she said, my mind is a center. Do you know what that means? Your mind is a center of divine operation. Yours is. There's as much of the divine operation behind you as there is in front of you. There's as much to your right as there is to your left. Do you know that you are sitting in the center of divine operation? You are. Now think of this. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. You're in a power, you're of a power, you're an expression of a power that is always for expansion and fuller expression. This means the production of something beyond what has gone before. In other words, if you're working in harmony with this power, you're going to do something beyond what you've done in the past. It's something entirely new. It's not a repeat performance. It's not included in past experience, although it's proceeding out of past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. Now let's look at that again. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. That's growth. This means the production of something beyond what's gone before, something entirely new, not included in your past experience, although it's proceeding out of your past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. We're talking about the results that you're getting in your life. We're talking about the rich results that you want to get. Now, Troward goes on here, through proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. In other words, you've got to do it in a certain way. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner within me. See, we're dealing with natural laws. You're going to get a result beyond what's gone before. You're going to get a result that's brand new. You're going to get a result that has never been included in your past experience, although it's proceeding out of your past experience by an orderly sequence of growth. Now, I mentioned that in a previous session. Everything that's happened in the past has been absolutely essential to make you the person you are, to prepare you to do what you're going to do. Now, Troward says, therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, Spirit operates one way. The modus operandi of God is by law. The laws never change. Troward's saying then it must operate in the same manner within me. It's got to operate in the same manner within you. Consequently, in your special world of which you are the center, Spirit will move you forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have spent hours thinking of this, relating to it, relating my life to it, my results to it. I want to recommend you do the same. Now, the next exercise, after studying that, I'm suggesting that you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to memorize this quote by Troward, and you're going to repeat it numerous times every day. Now, along with the written commitment, I want you to write a statement of gratitude that you will also memorize and repeat daily. So what are we doing? We're making a written commitment that we're going to take this exercise. If you want to find it, it's in your guide. So you take this exercise by Thomas Troward, and you actually memorize it. You make a written commitment that you will memorize it and repeat it daily. And you make a written statement of gratitude. You've got to be full of gratitude for this. You've got to fill yourself with gratitude. It is one of the most magnificent pieces of literature you will ever read. And I'm suggesting you memorize it, you internalize it, and you permit it to be the compass by which you live. And you do that, and I guarantee you, you're going to end up living your life in a certain way. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
Hello, this is Jack Canfield again. I'm glad I have the opportunity to comment on this particular session from Wallace Wattles because we're talking about getting into the right business. Most people spend their lives doing things they don't really enjoy. I was recently reading that 80% of the working population goes to a job that they don't even like. Now, spending 5 or 10 years at a job you don't like might be okay if you had a contract to live forever, but you don't. I want you to keep in mind that Wallace Wattles wrote this material that we're now studying 100 years ago. In fact, it was over 100 years ago. People disliked what they were doing then, and wonder of all wonders, people still don't like what they're doing today. Are we ever going to get this right? Now, Bob Proctor has already communicated here in this session that you will get rich most easily if you do that for which you are best fitted. But whether you're best fitted or not, you will get rich with more satisfaction if you do that which you want to do. Doing what you want to do is life. There's no real satisfaction in living if we are compelled to do something we don't like to do or that we're expected to do. It's as simple as that. As Wallace Wattles says, the fact is this: you can do what you want to do. Your desire to do it is proof that you have within you the power to do it. Walt Disney said, "If you can dream it, you can do it." Richard Bach, who wrote the classic Jonathan Livingston Seagull, said, "You are never given a dream without the ability to make it come true." Unfortunately, we grow up in our programmed lives with this ridiculous idea that we have to go to work to earn money. Nothing could be further from the truth. As Bob pointed out, you should go to work for satisfaction. You want to spend your days doing what you love. As Wallace Wattles pointed out, you are not obliged to do what you do not like to do and should not do it, except as a means to bring you to your desired work. See, the idea that we work for money is silly. It's an old idea that's been around for a long time, but that doesn't mean there's any truth in it. When we created the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series, it wasn't our regular job. Mark Victor Hansen and I were still doing every day what we loved most: speaking and leading seminars, coaching and consulting. The Chicken Soup idea was an other idea, a side idea, believe it or not. In a previous session here, Bob discussed the setting up of multiple streams of income. You work every day doing what you love, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the big breadwinner. True riches come from setting up multiple sources of income that quite probably are side ideas. Chicken Soup for the Soul started out as just another source of income for us. Now granted, Chicken Soup proved a surprisingly successful source of income for us. This happened because we simply were following all the constructs that are being laid out in this program and everything we shared with you in The Secret. Remember, Wallace Wattles has already taught us that you provide service to earn money. When you increase your service, you earn more money. Our Chicken Soup books have inspired, motivated, uplifted, and entertained more than 100 million people. But it's obvious that I wasn't there with those buyers selling them their books or reading the books aloud to their children. In fact, I was sleeping when many of those books were being purchased and read. But I earn money on every one of them, and I'll earn money on them for the rest of my life. And my estate will earn money on them because we found a way to increase our service by developing a series of Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Currently, there are 115 titles in that series. And just recently, a publisher in China has indicated that it wants to translate all 115 titles into Chinese. And they also want to publish them all in English to use as textbooks to teach English to the Chinese. You know, that simple contract alone will probably create hundreds of millions of copies being sold in China. As Bob quoted Wallace Wattles in the very first session of this program, you can only become rich when you expand your service beyond your current presence. And that's just what we did. The Chicken Soup side idea proved a beautiful one. It resonated with millions of people in ways we can never possibly know. And as a result, it became one source of several multiple sources of income that both Mark Victor Hansen and I now enjoy. And guess what? More multiple sources of income have grown out of that. We now have 19 Chicken Soup branded products for which we receive a commission or licensing fee, including a Chicken Soup for the Pet Lover Soul dog and cat food line, a Chicken Soup for the Soul supplements line with vitamins, minerals, and weight loss products, a Chicken Soup for the Soul greeting cards line, Chicken Soup for the Soul magazine that has over 80,000 subscribers, Chicken Soup for the Syndicated Soul column, and a syndicated radio show. There's a Chicken Soup board game. We have puzzles, Chicken Soup t-shirts, card games, collectibles. Right now we're working on a Broadway musical and an animated cartoon series and an illustrated comic book series. You see, there are endless, multiple sources of income streaming off one idea to serve, to make a difference, to contribute beyond what we could do with our speaking and training alone. Now, you might be in a place where you might not know how to set up multiple sources of income. You might not even know where to start. That doesn't really matter. You see, it's a learned skill, and it's one of the easier ones to learn. By studying this material and attending the live seminars we're conducting on this subject, you will learn how to earn multiple sources of income. All you have to do right now is decide that you're going to. It all starts with the decision. Then get your head around the most important aspect of this session. Do what you love, not what you have to do. It may not happen overnight. It rarely does. But it will happen when you make that decision. The second you're finished with this lesson, I encourage you to sit down and make a written commitment that you are establishing an objective towards spending your days doing what you love and setting up multiple sources of income to create the income stream strategies that so many people from all walks of life and education have employed to become wealthy. Sign that commitment and give it to someone that you trust and respect. And I guarantee you, your opportunities will begin to change immediately.